Well, here, let me just show you so I don't ramble on too much. Um, what do we have here? Look what the cat dragged in. What is this and why is it all of a sudden here? It is actually probably going to be the first rental boat for my new business that I'm going to try and start here, and I'm just going to have to go full send and either make it or fail. And failing would suck really bad because I got a lot invested into it, but it'll be all right. Um, just, I don't know, like, it's worth it to talk about wood decks and what to do with here, where we obviously where we put this here, how we put this in here, whether or not it has to be flushed into the deck, what that means if it's not, how to butt the turf up correctly to the overhang, if there is an overhang or if there's a straight 90 degree, how do you handle that? Differences between wood versus aluminum decking, why I chose wood with aluminum hatches, and why we just restored most of this, and what we actually did, because this is supposed to be a fairly cheap restoration. Not a whole lot of money in. Really, the most expensive thing we bought for this is the resin to preserve the wood. And besides that, nothing really else. So hey guys, thank you very much for coming in. 29 in the live. Can I get 29 likes? It helps improve the quality of the live stream tremendously. Likes just make the live stream better. More people pour in, more comments pour in. There's just a barrage. And I thank you guys for being here on a Friday, because I know you guys could be anywhere else, but you were here today. And I know I just built that one boat. I am on that mission to build all the boats in my yard. I was trying to do it by March. But yeah, that's not working. But here, let's talk about what we got here. What is this thing? This is a Bass Tracker Tournament V17, the oldest of old riveted hull. One of these, this is like one of the true originals. And it's had its run. Who knows how many owners it's had? Who knows what's actually been going on here? And then there has been repairs. That is a legit pop rivets. That is sealed in, I think, liquid nails. It's, I don't know, but it's sealed and painted over to try to match the stock paint job, which hilariously it does, actually. I think that's like straight up Rust-Oleum haze gray or smoke gray. And here, you can see this one, where you can see some of the weld marks from me actually trying to repair more of it. It was, you can see the cutaway. See it? Where they cut away the original part of the hull. And it's a big piece, guys. Like you don't see behind here because I put the deck on, but the other piece here is like bulging out of the seams. It's like coming out, and you can't tell because they just put a whole piece of aluminum, and that's a big piece. It's a fairly long piece that is like over a yard long. It's like three foot something inches. You know, but it works. It works, and thank heaven it appears to be above the water line for the most part. So it is working. And then, but here, this thing was all bented in. You see how this is all bented in? They must have really just hit I don't know if a car hit the boat, or they hit a dock, or they hit a tree. I don't know. It's a horrendously bad push. Like, and it was like cut right through the hole too, because the rest of this is intact. You see, this is all intact, right? And well, this is a little bent in. You see the little curb, like where it doesn't look quite great there. So I think a lot of it was unbent, and part of it was just really destroyed. But enough of it was salvageable that they actually salvaged the boat. And so that's like the worst thing about the boat. Aside from that, it's just like any other tracker, where how it's built is how it's built. And we've been doing odd things here and there, just to fix it up. No full gut or rebuild. So if you want to keep this thing cheap, and you really want to make them cheap, don't gut anything. We'll talk about only restore what's here, and we're going to talk about how we restored it. So first of all, this is all carpeted. Now, I will give it to the tracker people, like the old employees of, you know, the legendary ones who made this boat. They know how to hide some stuff with carpet that you'll never see. Like, so all these points here, you see them? These are all welded, and I need to grind them off and polish them up because they were a little hard to weld. It was old, dirty aluminum. But there was no... I couldn't believe it when you pull the carpet off. You start to see that no pieces are actually connected. They're just pieces put together and then carpeted over to look like it's connected, but it's not. They're just individual pieces like floating around the area. 35 people in the live. Thank you guys for coming in. Can I get a like? Hop out of the chat, hit the like button, hop back in the chat, ask your questions. I will be answering Q&A here pretty shortly. If you guys have anything to say, comment should be on, right? I can't actually see anybody talking. All right, well, anyways, like, let me, okay, here. Sorry. This, like these spots, there was just a big gap there. Not connected, not interconnected, not you know, like triangled in or pushed in and riveted over to where they actually connect. Nothing, none of that. They were just like side by side to each other. So naturally, these are going to bend in. Naturally, this thing bent in. Side by side here again. And then here, this is the only part where it actually overlapped to get a rivet in. And it wasn't, you know, that itself wasn't terribly... I was having cracks, so I welded up the cracks. Did the same thing on the other side. Still a little lopsided, but it's loads better than it was beforehand. And then it had these old, like, framing, this graded angle. Like, this was actually on top of the carpet, so this wasn't even hit on the carpet. So there was carpet over this, and then there was just angle. And then there was this old wooden hatch here. Here's the original wooden hatch right here. This is it. So, to its credit, it's really not in bad shape, aside from the carpet is completely busted, right? And you obviously don't want to salvage it this old. It's 1/2 inch. But when it's wrapped in the carpet, it turned into about 3/4 inch. So, because we're going to EVA foam over this, we got 3/4 inch plywood. And it's roughly the same gap. It's roughly the same gap as... let me see if I can get that thing here. It's roughly the same gap. Height, I'm sorry. But the gap is much closer in because remember we're going to EVA foam this. So the closest gap, or the closer gap you have, the better the foam looks when you go to install it. Give me 1 second here, because I can't actually open this up. I'm gonna have to do something here. Sorry for all the movement, all the shakiness. I was gonna install the stupid. This is a stock pool latch too, by the way, that I hit up with some trim serum from lithium, which it will bring the most nastiest corroded, oxidized plastic back to fairly good looking, like almost brand new like this. This was busted. It looked like straight up white, like a ghost touched it and stole its soul. But that, look, not so bad anymore. It doesn't look brand new, but it looks like doesn't look like it did. These are pool latches, okay? They're the easiest, cheapest things to get. They're the cheapest. I mean, I used to love these things. Aside from the fact that you can't actually secure anything. And so we did have, I don't remember the hatches face the other way. I want to say it's more functional for them to face the other way, but the fact that like you can hit a bump and these fly up and then that's it. That's it. Your whole side comes out. Oh, cool. This one's not attached. We're going to go ahead and assemble this hatch here on the live to show you what we did. So I want to tell you something about this whole thing here. Back in my earlier days of doing all this, I did say a lot of like negative things about all right. Oh, live chat is like okay. Oh, live chat is visible. Okay, here I had it turned off because I'm still trying to figure out the whole thing. Hey guys, Damien, how did I buy that? How much did I buy this boat for? Actually, a fan of the channel gave it to me. He just wanted to get rid of it. He gave me like 2 boats. One I couldn't really do anything with. I kind of gave that one away. Just passed on the giving. And then this one, I was dreading rebuilding it because I knew how it was built because we've got it other trackers, and I was like, oh. So I put it off for as long as I could. But then I realized that if I just don't do a full gut and I just do a reskin, it will take about a week to finish this boat, and it'll be really, really good. Hydroturfing, is it sold out, G-Stall? The TBN Hydroturf? I didn't know that it was sold out. I'm sorry, guys. Do I seal the edges of the wood sealant? Yes, let me talk about all that. These are all good questions. I was going to forget all these things. I'm so glad I found the chat. The boys, I built but I went with aluminum. Good. Do with what I mean, do whatever you're going to do. Like, the fact is, I want to talk about this. The fact is, we can say whatever we want to say about this tracker. We can make fun of this. We can make fun of some of the other bootleg things they got going on. We can make fun of the fact that, like, it not only was put together in majority with rivets, but there was, like, very little rivets. And so we can say all that about it, right? But here's the whole thing. This boat is old and archaic. And the only reason I could still run it, I could have just took all the carpet off, all the old stuff, and put brand new carpet on, and still went and took it on the lake. And would it have ran the best? Probably not, but it would have still worked. And so, and the fact that it worked for 30, 40 years, however old this thing is, right? We're in 2020. This thing was probably built in the 1980s. 1980s, 1990s, if we're lucky. It looks like pretty old tech. Like, I don't know if you see these things here. I don't know if you can tell. There's all kinds of crap on this stupid boat because I'm currently at war with it. But this is all bloated. See, this is all. Let me see. Let me change the angle. See how it's all round? It's like rounded. It's like rounded. It's bloated because they poured foam. They poured foam in like that, right directly, right in there, and had exit holes. Which I've done that before. It works. But you do, if you don't have, like, if you have too thin a gauge of aluminum, it does bloat. So I wouldn't recommend doing this method with anything under 1/8 inch because it will just bend the aluminum. And so we've had other ways, obviously, of handling it so this doesn't happen. But this is, that whole bloating thing, eventually that goes away. They figured out that's not real attractive. But they would just carpet right over it. The stuff they got away with back in the day was amazing. There must have just been nothing else for this to be, like, for this to pass quality control. The point is, it did pass quality control, and it actually lasted a very long time, right up until the moment where I gutted everything. And, well, I didn't gut everything, it was just really the deck. So, here, check out I thought this was nifty. I can respect this design. So, first off, this is the wood I used. This is resin coated, and once you resin coat it thoroughly, meaning, you know, it's a gloss, you don't want to leave it unresin because if you use cheap wood, or non-marine grade plywood, really, it could even be more expensive standard wood. It'll still soak in a lot of resin because there's voids and the wood's just not as pure. Like, so it'll soak in a lot of resin, but once you get enough resin, you should have a clear gloss surface. No flat surfaces. If you have flat surfaces on here, it means that, like, you soak too much of it in there and you don't have a gloss. You want the gloss because even though the resin is saturated, the wood portals, it can still get mold and contamination if there's not a gloss, like a glass over it, glass of resin. So this is all glassed. And then once it's resin, it becomes paintable. So you might be asking yourself, can I use like oil-based enamel to preserve my hatches? And the answer is yeah. Yeah, you can, and I almost did. You should be told I could have cut all these pieces, just doused them in this, done 2 coats. They would have all been sealed, and turf will stick right to sealed oil-based enamel. Right to it, as long as it's sealed and smooth. There's a bunch of little grooves and stuff, then no. But here's the whole thing. So the difference between the resin and the paint and why the resin is going to outlast the paint tenfold is because both of them will seal the wood, will get into the grain and saturate the grain so that water can't go in there and saturate and ruin it. But over time, the wood starts to split. We all see it, right? Splitting. We can look at this piece visibly. You start getting stress cracks, pressure cracks, and then whole pieces of it are missing, gigantic gaps in the whole thing. That, right? This just happens to wood normally and organically, and this without any sealing. Clearly, this wood is not sealed. It's treated wood of some sort. It might even be marine grade wood of some sort, but all wood needs to be sealed if you're going to get any sort of life expectancy out of it. The only difference between marine grade and standard grade is there's better glue and no voids. So it's just naturally stronger and better for marine environments, but doesn't mean it'll withstand saturated water over time and do well. It's not true. So so the only way to really saturate wood and keep it from splitting its porous organic, its natural organic process of porous decomposure is to seal it. So this is 2-part marine epoxy. This is West Systems. They got a few brands out there. I personally always sell out to West Systems because there is a West Marine here, and that's the only reason. I'm not brand loyal. If you find something cheaper, let me know so I can order it. Okay? But this is just like, I've just been using it for a while, and it is really expensive to buy it right from the store, but it works very well. I like to use a slow hardener. I like to use a fast hardener on the bottom. But because the bottom, I don't really care too much. It needs to be sealed, but not like deep penetrated. And so I'll do fast harden on the bottom. That way it'll set real fast. Then I'll flip them, and then I'll use slow hardener. 205 is a fast hardener. 206 is a slow hardener. I use a slow hardener, and it will absolutely, it's just a thinner resin when it's all mixed together in two parts, and it will penetrate the wood. And you'll see all these little air bubbles rising up because you can see it penetrating in the wood and squeezing out the air. Then you got to go over it with like a blowtorch. And you don't want to catch the deck on fire or the resin on fire, but you got to go briefly over it, and it heats up the resin and releases all the air bubbles. So you can kind of get a fairly flat. If it's not flat and all bumpy, like this used to be kind of that, you have to kind of sand it and recoat it. But once it's a smooth glass finish like this, turf will stick right to it. Anything will stick right to it, but specifically turf. So the bigger benefit to this and doing it well is you can put turf right on it. Right on it. Otherwise, you could also just carpet it too, but I don't know. We're on this whole turf kick, so we're going to totally just run that turf kick. Let me see what you guys got for questions. I know you guys are saying some things here. 50 guys, 50 people in the live. Really appreciate you guys being here. Please leave a like. Hit the thumbs up wherever you can find it. If you're in the chat, you might have to exit out of the chat to hit the thumbs up. If you're on a computer screen, you should just be able to hit it. I really do appreciate you guys hitting that thumbs up button. It helps the live tremendously. Helps us grow it, actually. What trolling motor am I going to use? You guys tell me what you want. What do you guys think I should put? I have a Minn Kota Power Drive 45 pound, and I have a Minn Kota Edge 45 pound. I was thinking about the Power Drive, but then I was thinking about I was thinking I'm going to end up using them both. I'm trying to get a total of 3 rental boats. And the whole point between this one and the last one, the reason I didn't make that 1648 a rental boat is because I put too much time and work into it, and I cared about the boat and what happened to it afterwards. So whole thing about the rental boats is like you got to be able to send them out there on their way and look the other way. And whatever happens to it, you got to just look the other way. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I don't get terribly emotionally invested in like the boat, which you shouldn't be getting emotionally invested in anything that's not a person, or a dog, but I can't I care. Let's put it this way. I care about my work once it's done. I don't want to see it just get wrecked by some noob who doesn't know how to drive a boat, but paid me money, so he's driving my boat and he wrecks it into the dock the minute it's going to happen. They do it. Like I've heard some of the most horrific like rental stories. People ashing cigarettes. I mean, we're gonna have a no smoking policy. They're going to smoke. You can't stop it. It's going to get on the stupid turf. It's going to burn a hole in the... We're going to have to charge the money. Like, it's stupid. But the whole time, it's going to get problems. So the whole thing is just we make it really robust, but still really cheap. And we pull it through. What else you guys got? What size is it? It's a 17-footer. A B17. And it's... The only thing I am going to put new on this boat is a motor. Because I really need a reliable... new motor. So it's not just going to be me. It's the local fishing guy down here. He's the top fishing guy in the area. He's going to partner up with me to do this. We're good friends. And we were just talking on our last fishing trip away. And so he's pretty in on this. So we're going to just do this. I'm taking care of the boat. He's taking care of the motor. They're both about the same price in like equality. We're going to put a 40 horse command thrust Mercury. So you get a 40 horse standard Mercury. It's a 3-cylinder with a smaller lower and ultimately smaller prop and less prop options. Or you get the 40 horse command thrust, which has the 4 cylinders, even though it's restricted down to a 40. It has more torque because of that extra cylinder, and it's got that bigger, beefier lower with a bigger prop, and it just on torque gets on plane faster. It doesn't go any faster high end really. It's 40 horses, but as far as getting it out of the hole, I think it's really, really key. Because 2 or 3 people are gonna want to stack in here. Sometimes like 2 or 3 people and a kid. I don't know, they're going to try and jam-pack this thing. We're going to have a max 4 people capacity thing somewhere. We're going to have it. It's got to be somewhere. And then, like, this is it. Can you read that? Is it backwards? It might be backwards. I'll read it. Doesn't look very good from what I'm looking at. 4 persons are 650 pounds. 1,200 pounds person's motor and gear. Slightly more than the other boat we just did, but it's also slightly bigger by like 1 foot, but not a whole lot. Not terribly more impressive. What's more impressive, you can put an 80 horse on this thing. An 80 horse. Check out this motor. Check out this motor. Check out this motor, guys. Look at it. Look at this motor. This is the oldest of the old vintage first generation Mercs. That thing, if I could hang it on a wall, I would. When I take it off, like right now, it's like a relic, man. Just like, wish I could make it a statue of it, stick it somewhere, but I probably can't do that. I was thinking about it. I could make that a statue. I could like put it on a pedestal and stick it in my front yard. Be like, look. I could paint it gold. What do you guys think? Like gold, silver, pewter? No, I don't know. Let me tell you. I'm open for ideas. Anyways, let me get back here. I got distracted as I normally do because I was trying to figure out the chat. But check this thing out. I think this is genius. This is the cheapest, stupidest. Like you can think it's either stupid and cheap, and you can be embarrassed about it, or you can just admire the simplicity and design, simplicity and elegance and cost effectiveness ratio of the design. So this is actually just one big hinge. It's one big long extended hinge that you put the wood on. Like this. That's genius. You know how much money this saves you? Now, I've never seen this out anywhere on the market. Do you guys want us to build something like this? We probably could make it for a lot cheaper than an actual hatch like that. Like, truly could make these cheaper. They'd be in like certain size. All you'd have to do is cut out the wood, and then attach it to the really long hinge. So how we attach to the long hinge is, we're probably here. Those 5 screws. I'm gonna probably go ahead and install this right here in front of you guys to show you what we did here. So sorry for the movement. Just gotta you know, kind of have my stuff together here. 5 screws. Stainless steel, so they're one of the only things that actually lasted on the boat and didn't have to get gutted. Before I painted it, so those rivets right there, you see the rivet heads, the rivet ends. So I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that in the stupid camera? Yeah. Anyways, there's holes. Not holes, just like concave indents where the rivets go. So this slides right in there, about as close as it can get. Like pretty close to snug. And we're just gonna go and install it like this, which I think is great. So let me go ahead and, I should actually pre-drill these holes, but I need to put one in here for a second. I think that one was already a hole. Yep, there that is. Let me get a smaller drill bit. Where's my stuff? Here. This is a Milwaukee installation driver, by the way, guys. You should get it. It's awesome. That doesn't have a collet. Only thing that sucks about it. Good thing about not having a collet is I can do that all with one hand, and bad thing is the bit comes right out if you don't watch it. So this is the easiest hatch I've ever done. And then we're not even done. It has a dry hatch feature. It has a natural dry hatch feature. Pretty sweet, huh? That's all right. That's all right. Give a like for the super economy hatch that is arguably going to last just as long as... I don't see this failing. This is the perfect wood aluminum hybrid hatch system. I don't see this failing. It can't fail. It's like attached... The wood is just a buffer, and it's a 3/4 inch buffer in a small span. You could be 500 pounds, you're going to bend that. Like... It's not going to bend and warp because it's attached to the aluminum as a bracket. And then it's flush. So, I think this is gonna last a very long time. This is choice. I'm like pretty happy about this. This is pretty awesome, actually. Yeah. I might have to shift this. No, I have to shift it. No, I'll do it later. It's super uneven. I thought, yeah, okay. I'll shift it later. That's fine. But I wanted to show you that. And then here, check out this. Check out this. The dry. See, they got holes in here. I don't know if you can see it. The holes in each corner that bleed out, and underneath is just a giant void right before the foam pocket, and it just bleeds down to the bottom. So this always had this little dry hatch system, which is little holes that superseded the box. So there's a box too. That's the whole thing. Is a sealed box unit with all this. Well, no, the box actually, yeah, it was a whole sealed unit put together like this, but it's pretty good. He just dropped it right in there. But this was on top of carpet, like I said. So we took it out of the carpet and we put it flush. And I get a lot of questions about, you know, do I have to flush mount? Do I have to rat out the spot where I install my hatches in or something like this? And the answer to that is no. Not if you're using camouflage HydroTurf, okay? Like any color camo will hide that. Some of the more flamboyant white camos, you might maybe see it more, but I doubt it. It's just the camo pattern of the HydroTurf is so broken up and distracting to the naked eye that seeing curves, even in the broad sunlight, are very, very hard. And for that reason, and knowing that, I didn't even bother to route this one. Last time I routed them out, so I had my whole deck flush for that gator cam on the V-hull. And it did turn out nice. You can maybe see a little groove. It just doesn't matter, though, with the camo turf. It's not... You can pick and choose whether or not you want to put all that effort just to have an extra flush finish to flex to your friends at the dock. Or just for something that's going to equal functionality. This is in the equal functionality. We're purposely making this the most easiest, cheapest build on purpose. On purpose. And so that's in there, guys. We even left the stock carpet in there. Because there's... Oh, it stinks. Other than it stinks, there's no real reason to get it. Whew, that really hit me in the face. I wasn't really... I almost threw up on live. Ew. Hold on. So what's going on, guys? Yeah, maybe we're going to replace that carpet. Yeah. It is a rental. Yep. Just going to tell myself that over, Tim Thompson. It's a rental. It's a rental. You have an 04 PT 185? Sweet. That's an 18.5 foot boat. That's a good boat. How's it going, Robert? Hockey teams. Sweet. Hey, Robert, and all you guys who have gotten stuff coming to you, it's coming. All right? Didn't forget about you guys. I haven't been a little distracted. Clearly, I haven't put out any long-form videos. It's just been these stupid shorts and lives. But I found the lives to be really enjoyable and really helpful because I can crank boats out. I cranked 4. I will have cranking a third boat out and possibly 4 in 2 months, and that's a big deal to me. Well, 2.5. I could say 2, but it would be a lie. But still, like before the actual summer comes, if I can get 4 boats done before the spring, that's a personal best for me. So I could possibly get 4, maybe not 5. It depends. I mean, I don't know. I could turn my V-hull. Remember, I had my V-hull. I was going to turn that into more of a casual boat for us to go around. But I may just turn that into a rental itself. That might be rental boat number 2. I might turn my smoker craft into a rental. It's already got a 60 on it, an older used 60, and it runs. I paid money for it, and I got that nitro. The nitro, once we redo it, I probably will not put that one into a rental. It'll get immediately screwed up. Plus, we're gonna try and make it look nice. So there's that. We could rent it, but it's gonna get screwed up. We've rent it for a lot of money and put a high deposit on it. Be like, if you screw this boat up, you're paying. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. I do know. Oh, here's this. So, a bad thing about this whole thing is, once I gutted it all, took the carpet off and gutted the hatches, stripped the hatches of the carpet, because I was like, these are good hatches, I can reuse these. You really can't, because for one, they're gap for carpet, so the gap is heinously like an inch thick. Second, the carpet also makes them thicker, So after the carpet's gone, the hatch sinks in here. So it's going to look terribly funky. So that means I got to make new hatches. And then this is not even even. See, that is up, rised above. Like, and it's rised a lot. You can't tell on the phone because I'm looking at it live and I'm looking at it through the phone. The phone can't tell you just how big of a gap that is. That is heinous. That's like it's definitely a 1/4 inch, maybe more. So it was never really truly sitting flush on that. That's just floating. Here's some nonsense. See that? See these gaps of non-fastenery? Like, that's what this was like before I welded it. And imagine how bad that was. People were sitting on these things, and there was no fastening in the corners. So there's that. And then but yeah, I got to figure out how to re-level that, make that level with that, and then I'm gonna end up welding tubing. So we're gonna kind of go old school a little bit. Old school with the wood, of course, but old school, like, as in we were going to use framing here. They bent that. Oh man. Whatever. So we're gonna have this. Remember we used to frame stuff out of 3/4 inch tubing. Well, we're still going to do that. Yes, we are still going to do that. It's going to still be awesome. And just, it's easier to do it with tubing because we have brackets. It's called the build from scratch lids. We're going to make a whole gigantic, but skinny but long rod locker. This was 2 pieces. It was a regular hatch, and then there was a bootleg piece of wood here that somebody made because the regular hatch is truly, honestly, insufficient. Like when you try and find rods, because there's no rod tubes here at the entrance. It's just a big long opening with that. So to its credit, it has legitimate rod storage in this boat, which is something that the 1648s that I had did not. They did not have legitimate rod storage. They had some bootleg thing off the side that you could put rods in. And then we made that a little bit better and actually put rod tubes, but still couldn't really make a full locker and still have a console. But this boat is wide enough and big enough to where they put the smallest rod locker they possibly could while still making a console area. Credit to them for that, because it works. It's all right. And I don't know, like, this boat isn't so much bigger than the other one. It really isn't. It's just longer by a little bit, but it's not so much wider. I wonder if maybe it's because of taper. But just to me, I thought about implementing this design, but just to me, it wasn't going to work. But I possibly could have made this work. Could have possibly put a micro locker like this one inside a 1648, and it probably maybe would have worked. It just would have been a little close together in the cockpit area. Like, you might have been rubbing some elbows, maybe. But we hold on. We have 1-inch-long rivets. We used 1-inch long rivets, and we ran tubing right into this crevice. This was just a bumper here. This was actually initially just riveted to the side of the hull. I shaved down the rivets and ripped the initial hinges off of the hull. So that was how the initial hatches was just attached right to the hull. So that was not great. So we have an actual joiner bar here, riveted here, and this is just loosely a hinge. That's loosely a hinge. Could I put a sheet of aluminum on top of the hatch to fill the gap? What do you mean? Oh, no. No, you can't do that because... No. No, you're going to have to make your own hatch. It's going to be really hard to... I mean, really, the easiest way to do this is it would be really easy to make my own hatch out of wood. Because all I'd have to do... See, this is like 1.25 inches. This is 1.25 inches. I would just go super old school. Because the Tiny Boat Nation was built off our wooden hatch designs. They, like, completely blew away anything else anybody else was even doing. Not that it was inachievable for anybody. Just nobody was doing it. So, and by meaning that, I mean that it was nothing like this. It was more like a... Yeah, so you had this, right? So you had we mainly do it out of a 1/2-inch plywood because 1/2-inch plywood is actually fairly light considering. And then we would cut out another 1/4 inch. We'd get like 3/16 to 1/4 inch hardwood and make a 1/4 inch lip. to bring the whole hatch to 3/4 inch, even though it was only 1/2 inch. So you'd have like an inner part of it. Then we would insulate the inner part. It would look pretty cool. And we used to do it all with just wood hatches. It was just so much work, and then the wood would fail later. It was just like all that work just the wood to fail a year later. So we stopped doing wood hatches, but the process still worked, especially if you didn't use struts. If you didn't use struts, the wood hatches actually last so much longer. It's the struts putting constant pressure on the hatch. The screws eventually rip out no matter how much you stick through the hinge to keep the hatch in place. They'll rip out, and so it's like a real. It's like, why do all that work if it's just gonna fail? So it's kind of that scenario. It kind of got little whatever. But the whole thing is I could just do that again here. I could get 3/4 inch plywood, cut 1/2 inch strips from a 1/2 inch piece of plywood I have them floating around, or 3/8 even, and I could just run 3/8 little 1 inch strips of 3/8 underneath the 3/4, staple them. I would just staple those pieces right in. Well, 3/8 staple is kind of big. You probably would have to run. You probably have to glue them. I would epoxy them. I would wood glue them. That's what I would wood glue them to the bottom and then seal it once it's done. And then you have like a 1.25 inch hatch that's 3/4 inch thick, and which means it's going to be really robust. Probably doesn't even need under supports. It's because wood per span is much stronger than aluminum per span. The same for like with the equivalent weight. I mean, not in general, but that hatch would fit here. And I'm still thinking about it. I did buy all this tubing today because I really wanted this to be aluminum. But I might just make all these hatches wood. Now that I think about it, it would just be easier. I have a piece. I have a piece. One piece. This is 2 pieces. This is 2 pieces of plywood. 2 pieces of plywood, and I still have a whole 1/2 of a sheet. So no, I'm sorry, 1.5 pieces, plus the scraps I had to throw away because they were unusable. But I got all this out of 1.5 pieces, and then these pieces that flopped over here were on a hinge, and wood, cheap wood, was flopped over on a hinge. So we probably will at least do aluminum on these, because I just wood on the hinge, and you're sitting on it and tweaking it. See, wood is really good at staying put. All right, so it's extremely good at just staying there. So if it doesn't have to move, and it's preserved correctly, it does a fantastic job of making the boat feel solid, a nice, solid, stable platform to step all over. And, it's just when you have to start moving it like this, back and forth, all the time. And there's visible gaps where it's not connected to the deck. It starts to warp, it starts to twist, it starts to come off the hinge, starts to look like crap. So, like, it might be okay, though. It might be okay. We still might do it. It might be the best option. Because the other option is just to cut these, line them in there, weld them, then go cut out aluminum to put them on top. That in and of itself is going to be a really tedious process. But the only thing about that hatch is it's going to last for freaking ever. And this hatch, if I do it off of wood, we can't pull the same bootleggery we did here. I don't have an extendedly long hinge for this one that would cover the whole bottom. But, because then that would actually, so I'll put wood right on there. But the hatch would stand alone. Now we would really have to seal it because that's going to be a live wall and water's going to be all in on it. So, and then the back hatch is just whatever. Could work. What do you guys think? Do you think I should just do a wooden hatch in the back? Would you guys like that? I haven't done a wood hatch in years, guys. In years. Because we've just been kind of evolving. I know it's gotten tedious and people thought we've gotten away from ourselves. So, I mean, if you guys want wooden hatches in the back, I'll do it. I don't care. I don't care. This is like tell me what you want in here. We're not going to really go terribly advanced in this. Side console or hand tiller? It's going to be side console. Going to be side console. 100%. Bones Jones. Plywood floors. You stained it? You stained and epoxied it? I'm just going to carpet right over it? Okay. My process worked for decades. Yeah. No, the process... No, you pretty much, if you use marine epoxy on the plywood, you pretty much create like a plastic log. Like it's hard. It's a hard, thick, all the fibers stick together that saturate the wood don't only stick together in there, but they stick together on the top. They solidify it. They keep the wood from splitting, from pressure cracking, and just doing its organic decomposure over time. This is the best way you're going to get it. The only thing that would be better than this is if you actually put a layer of fiberglass over the epoxy, and it would be even stronger. But we're not gonna. That's stupid. We're gonna do that. But that would be how you do it. I mean, that's how they make all the salt rigs, all the flats boats. So how they used to make them. They still kind of do, but marine grade plywood, a layer of glass over it, layers of glass over it, and that's what would make the transom. That's what would make the main support structures and stringers. That's how they would do it. They started using synthetic board like Kusa board, which actually ended up being better, even though it's weaker per span. It's a synthetic board. It was really super resistant to cracking and pressure cracking or anything in vibration. It would last essentially as long as it was glassed. It would last forever, and it would just take a lot of vibration and flex. So it kind of beat wood, but wood has still been used since forever. Since forever on the whole thing. On the whole thing. Yeah, the OG wood hatches. What's up, Jacob? You want the OG wood hatches? It's around going expensive. I'm kind of liking with Tom. So yeah, ouch. This garage is looking like dog doo-doo. I about have it with my garage and I start stepping on things. And like, I'm right there. This garage looks like a pile of you-know-what. Hey, yeah, I'm going to show you the most disappointing tool I've ever had. This. I thought this would be my saving grace. Because, you know, I like to use the 14 gauge shear. It turns out this thing is incredibly disappointing. It doesn't totally not work, but it's really not worth the money. And I was just thinking to myself, yay, a true 14 gauge cordless shear. Nope. It's a piece of crap. What a disappointment. You might as well just get the standard $30 14 gauge electric shear off Amazon, and it's way better than that 200 and whatever. Man, I spent a lot of money. I want to give that thing a bad review. They're gonna lose money on that product. I'm gonna just rip it. I'm gonna do a video rip it. Nah, that's messed up. Maybe I'll do it. I'm pretty disappointed. It's a bad tool. It's not good. Some things Milwaukee do. Sometimes some tools Milwaukee does, they're bad. Their grinder, it sucks. That tool, it sucks. Their hand tools, 50-50. Some of them are questionable. I don't know, man. I don't know. So this is so disappointing though. But anyways, when I'm going to build the tournament catfish boat. So, I mean, people want an 80-gallon live well in the tournament catfish boat. And if I need an 80-gallon live well, I need like a 20-foot boat. It would have to be the most obscene boat for an 80-gallon live well. I ain't sticking no 80-gallon live well in a 16-foot DV. That would like be most of the boat. It would have to be obscenely long. It's hard. I could put a 40-gallon in there. Like, we could do that. That's slightly more of a project where if I team up with somebody, I'll do it for them. Only because we've never done one. But I'd have to have, like, a tournament catfish person with a prominent following who's not a freaking dirtbag. Like, hit me up, and then we could reasonably discuss terms on promotion. Because, like, I wouldn't want to keep that boat. I couldn't, I mean, I like catfishing, but not so much that I would. And there's no tournament catfishing out here. There's just tournament bass fishing, and sometimes there's striper derbies, but that's about it. So I mean, if the right person comes by, is like, hey, I want to team up for a catfish, but I probably would do it for you guys, because I know you guys have asked for it for a while, but I don't know. I'm trying to get to it. It's one of the things on my bucket list. Now, the guys in the Southeast shop are actually doing a flats boat though, so I think that's pretty cool. They're finally getting that going. Let me see what else you guys here. Build a tournament crappie boat. I wouldn't even know where to start fishing with Matthew. I like crappie or a gem out here. If you find a crappie out here, it's called a Havasu gem. That's like the truth. It's the truth. They're so hard to catch. I've never caught a crappie out of this lake. I've truly never tried terribly hard, but I've found people catch them on drop shot worms, fishing for bass on the reeds. Every once in a while you get one. Yeah, so let me see what you guys got here. Did Nate get a Pro Charge battery for a giveaway after the last live? You have to ask Nate that. I'm trying. We definitely do want to give away. Are you talking about a Pro Guide battery? maybe he can do it. Pro guy does like us. We'll see. We'll see. I should get a marina. Dude, tell me about it, Tim. 100%. 100%. It's not really financially doable until I become successful. A lot of the most successful rental companies are on the water. So I don't have that, but I am 10 minutes away from the water, and I do have storage. And I do now have enough tow vehicles to really become a problem. And my son is aging and wants to get into this business. I have some other people who are finally, I think I got a good team right now to launch the business. And then now I want to get 4 or 5 boats out there. I want to get, you make money in volume by putting a lot of boats out there. So you're going to make a whole lot of money renting only 1 or 2 boats. So we really need like 4 or 5, but we're going to start out with 2 and not shoot ourselves in the foot and go too heavy. You know, the Tiny Boat Nation is still my main thing here, my main responsibility. But I would like to make the whole fleet make some money. I've held on to all those hulls for a year. I've tell you guys this every live, but if I don't like salvage the amount of time lost and the amount of space lost by having those things just sit in my yard, it will eat my soul forever. But I really, really hate wasted time, or wasted time with no yielded benefit of anything later. That's like, I don't know what makes you guys upset. That makes me like, when that happens, I cry inside. On the inside, not on the outside though. Don't cry on the outside. It's lame. Here, let me see what you guys got. All right. Center rod locker for what? For this boat? Or for what? Center rod locker is kind of a gimmick. In that, I mean, it's not functional, Matt. I don't mean that disrespectfully. But in a 16-foot boat, a center rod locker is... I guess it's not a gimmick in a 16-footer if you have a tiller boat. But it's like, because you put that center rod locker in there, all your other storage is kind of shallow and spread apart and compromised. Like, the rod locker has to be so long that you have to end up separating batteries on each side of the boat versus keep them in the middle core to keep them stable. Like, you end up having to like put stuff places just to make the center rod locker work. And does it look great when it's done? Yes, but a center rod lockers to me belong in like an 18-foot boat and bigger, to where it makes a whole lot more sense. Faso Super Slick. Never tried it. I would try it. Everhard Outdoors, if you got a real resume, dude, hit us up. We'll talk about it. But whole thing, talent doesn't get you sponsored by us. Work ethic and solidity does. This is why we gave that boat away to those kids who have no social media following, because they're legit solid. I mean, I'm down to work with you guys. If you have influence, we would love to work with you guys. It just depends on what kind of person you are. Like, a lot of people end up being able to promote baits or promote fishing rods, and they for the life of them cannot promote a boat. We end up having to we end up getting into it with them, and then there's just a reason we don't have a high pro staff, or like the boat gets the least credit, even though it puts everybody on the fish, and it's always the bait or the rod. And so like, if you got a real good platform on how you're gonna like do something, we'll talk about it. I mean, we're down for sponsoring talent and having it grow. We're also gonna haggle out a big contract about pro staff. We've been asked enough to have it, so we're gonna look into it. We just haven't got it figured out because we're too busy doing stupid things. Yeah, so one of these days we'll get together. Dual Dude, how's it going? Gonna get your first boat soon. I mean, I would only get the light skip over a tracker if you're fishing small lakes and you can legit put that thing right in the back of your truck bed. And so that if you need a boat, you can just shove in the back of your truck bed and launch right out of it. Then I would get a light skiff. If you're gonna trailer your boat, get a tracker. Get a tracker, you'll enjoy it. Like the light skiff, to me, I like it because I can stick it in my toy hauler. I can take it out of my toy hauler, launch it in my truck by myself, then go to the lake and launch it by myself with some Alone kayak dollies. And I don't need to trailer it. It travels really well in the toy hauler because it doesn't need a trailer. It's completely flat bottom. A lot of people give that boat a lot of crap because it's plastic, but I tell you, I've dropped that thing on the floor really hard and have hit things with it. And I tell you, I know plastic won't last forever like aluminum will, but there's some things that I have done to it where those were aluminum hulls that would have been serious dents, deformations, and or punctures and tears to the hull. And I mean, there's advantages. There are bad things that come with plastic, and there are good things that come with plastic. Ultimately, if you don't leave it out in the sun to rot, it's going to last you a very long time. And it's also weldable, where most people don't. To weld aluminum, it's not only a lot of skill, but it's a lot of money to do it right. You can go and weld plastic today with a 10-minute tutorial on YouTube. So, like, I don't know. All I get on that light skiff is hate, 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 hate. It's too much money. It's too much money. And you guys might be right. They are a lot of money, but they are imported. And they are the only one doing what they're doing. So kind of when you have a monopoly and there's nobody to really challenge the reins, I guess, no reason to be competitive. So the light skip can be that expensive because it's the only thing out there that does what it does. Nothing else does what it does. I've looked, I've tried, nothing. But somebody will emerge now that these videos we post have gotten millions of views. My videos have got millions of views. Anthony Jones' videos have got millions of views on the light skiff. And they're just gonna, when you see that kind of like focus and everybody blowing up on it, and then the major complaint about it is cost, somebody's gonna put one out. It'll probably be Johnny Morris or I don't know, some kayak company who makes a mold and puts them out for $2,000. And when that happens, we'll try and sell those too, 100%. We'll do it too. Like we have no brand loyalty to Milha. They sure as heck don't cut us any slack with the pricing to us. So we're trying, guys. Influence. Remember, Dakota Lithium was charging $1,000 a battery. Now it's like $100. That's what competition does. It slims down the margin pretty quickly, and that does happen eventually. There's a market-breaking product. They have their run, and then other companies steal their idea and charge it for less, and then they ruin the parent company. If the parent company can't bond with a bigger company to stop that beforehand. That's just the ruthless nature of business. It seems real screwed up, but it's legal. And people have tried to do it to us. And eventually, some real smart guy is going to figure out what we're doing, and they're just going to do it to us if we don't pair up with somebody bigger. So it'll happen. It can happen to anybody. Like the entrepreneurship realm, the whole business realm is a blessing and a curse at the same time. But it's fun. It's fun. It's exciting. All right, what you guys got here? I can line both sides of the center lock with tackle storage. Yeah, you could, but it tapers in, Matt. It's like you could do it. I mean, one of the first builds that ever caught my eye was Nate's build. He did a center rod locker in an all wood build, or wooden deck with aluminum framing, and he pulled it off. But his batteries are on one side and one on the other. Tackle on one side, tackle on the other. It was a really nice looking boat, but it was hard. It was like a lot of nonsense to do it. I guess simplicity of design, functionality of design gets me versus flashy elegance. Or I would have done center rod lockers forever because they do look better. They do look great. In pictures, you're like, man, that looks fantastic. Wow. Like it pulls influence. But if the only reason I would do it, it would be for influence. You know what I will do a center rod locker in? I will do a center rod locker in this tournament V18 I got in the back of my yard. But I got to get to that thing. Do I mess with inflatable boats? Heck yeah. I started this whole channel in inflatable boats. Believe it or not, inflatable boat is what made this channel. I haven't messed with them in a long time, but it doesn't mean I wouldn't. I don't have nobody reach out to me about them. So, any outboard jet content? Possibly. I've been called out on it, and I've dinged my prop enough in shallow water to possibly get an outboard jet. It's a problem. It is a problem for me. Hey guys, 50 people in this live. Can I get 50 likes? I mean, there's 57. Can I get more likes? Put it that way. All right, got 57 likes. I really do appreciate those likes. See if we can get 100. You want lithium? Tim Thompson, lithiums are cheaper now than they have ever been. Check out Epic Batteries on our website, TBNation.net. This is like the first or second promo screen in the front, or you can just search Epoch, E-P-O-C-H. Cheap, super high quality, super durable. Then we got some more elegant, expensive ones. But, I mean, right now there's never been a better time to buy lithium batteries than right now. They are dirt cheap. They're a fifth of the cost of what they used to be. A fifth. A legit fifth for the same battery. Which, pre-2020, it was not like that. Like, lithiums were still kind of sketch. Only the richest and the bougiest of the bass guys had them. and everybody else is still using common sense wise, like lead acid and AGM. Now, like, you can get a good lithium battery for less than you can get an AGM battery, but still slightly more than a lead acid battery, but they outperform lead acid batteries tenfold. It's just way better. No, epic, cheap price, Damien. Like, inexpensive. Not cheap in quality, cheap in price. Like, for the cost effectiveness ratio of the Epic batteries is unbeatable, I think, personally. Like, nothing beats them. Like, price wise for how much they can do, because they pretty much do anything under the sun that can be promised from a battery. Outputs, apps, Wi-Fi, digital readouts, like of each cell. You can check how each cell in the battery is actually doing, so it's pretty good. You have two 1,000 watt. What does that equate in amp hours? 1,000 watts is a lot. That's like 1 kilowatt, right? Pretty serious. 7.5 amp hours? Okay. Like, you really would need a 50 amp hour to be comfortable in most situations. Yeah. Martin's, I never thought I would see it. They were so expensive. I was like, it would be expensive forever. I'll never get those nonsense. But then they started becoming real cheap. Amazon really had a giant hand in all that. Amazon took a huge part of the lithium battery market. Big deal. All right. I think you guys talked me into the wood hatches. Except for the rod locker. The rod locker, if I do a skinny hatch like this one will be out of aluminum, but only because it has to be. And then I'll have some joiners here because I'll have to actually cut. I was trying to not buy. I always go to the metal shop. If you ever go to a metal shop, try and pick at the cut pieces they have, because there's always full sheets, full 4x8 or full 4x10 sheets of aluminum, but there's always people who only want 6 feet and get a cut, or 4 feet and get a cut. Then you have these leftover cuts. You'd be like, do you have any rogue cut sheets of aluminum in these sizes? 063, 090, 125, which is 8th. And they'll be like, oh, I have this. And it's generally way less expensive. Way less expensive than buying a full sheet, especially since you only have like spot hatches. So what ended up we're not probably welding this one. And I think I might only do this one, and then I think we're going to just do wood for all the back. I think I like that. I like that. Yes. Oh, offcuts at Home Depot? Yeah, kind of. Kind of like the same thing. Yeah, for sure. That is a thing. That is a thing. Oh, man. What a night. What a night, guys. I don't know. What do you think? Oh, I got one other thing to show you. Check this out. Before I forget. When we turf over this, remember, we're going to paint the edges black. Or, honestly, whatever color you want. But I think, honestly, black will show less of the wood grain and look more factory. Especially if you're running a camo turf. And then, hold on. Ooh, that is ugly. Look at that. All right, here. We're going to have to... There's some of that old and archaic. What's happening here? I think this goes like this. Right? No, I'm wrong. It goes the other way. Ew. Okay, it goes that way. All right. Look at that. Okay, just pretend that's... Ow! Okay, just pretend this is fastened. Ouch. Pretend this is fastened. And then, there's that overhang. When you cut the turf straight, you have that nice little overhang turf hang. And then you can just turf right down this. And then down the deck. We'll be doing a video installation on that. I'm just compiling footage right now, guys. I'm sorry, I don't have, very many, long form videos, but what I will tell you is I'm not any less active and this channel is not dying. What I'm doing is just massively building Because eventually this weather we have, it's going to go away and it'll be extremely hot and depressing, and I'll have no choice but just to stay inside and do nothing but edit. Anyways, so I can release a series of content over the hotter months, 100%. The dual micro anchor plate to jack plate. We just make. We could make them, possibly. I'd have to talk to them. They probably would be really expensive. Like those mounts would be more expensive than the stupid micro anchors you buy. Like, but we could make them if you don't want to just mount them directly to the back of your boat. The reason I made them because I didn't think they could be mounted directly to the back of the boat. Now I'm glad I made them that way because you can actually get them lower in the water when the jack plate's all the way lower, and they can still flip over and store, which you can't really do that once they're mounted permanently to the back of the boat. But that's the only advantage. Otherwise, people just mount that directly to the transom. They flip the bracket upside down, and it still mounts right in there. So if you really want some, you can hit us up. We'll make you something custom. But okay, well, ring grid plywood. No, it's just resin coated standard plywood, which will last a very, very long time. It's a supreme plywood because there is levels to plywood even at the lumber yard. Like you'll see it. Find the most expensive non-veneer wood, not non-hardwood, like standard fir rated plywood. Find the most expensive standard actual plywood, not hardwood. You don't want to get oak or whatever because then you're going to have veneer layers, and that will actually go to crap very quickly. All that is just finishing countertop wood, and that's all it's for. It's not meant for a deck or a transom. So I just found that the best quality finish plywood there is, that's going to have the least voids and the best finish. And then if you find the stuff that's real rough on the top and a bunch of knots everywhere and a bunch of grooves, a bunch of cracks down it, when it's at a discount price and you want to buy it because it's a discount price, don't do it. I mean, not for a boat deck. Get the best quality wood. Because remember, you're already at a down point. Just get the best quality wood. Get the best quality wood. And it will stay there like no other. Oh, okay. And we just kind of sealed them. Those screws are sealed in. I tried to salvage a lot of the stock hardware, and then they had joint points in here. We just moved them over, and this deck I made it so this deck should be the last deck this boat will ever have. This boat has already had a real hard run in life. You can tell it was abused and not well taken care of, but it's got a 4-foot hole on the other side that's patched up with rivets. So we patched it up, welded up some of the spots. You're gonna send it back on its way. But I think this deck will last the life of the boat. Maybe not if the boat was brand new and in good condition, but I think this deck will last the life of the boat. That's if somebody doesn't run into an island or a dock, which I hope. Oh, it's not going to go very fast. It's like 20 miles an hour, 25 maybe, with a light load. So I'm pretty happy to kind of get back to it. It's kind of a little refreshing. I forgot. I even did some stupid things that I forgot not to do because I haven't worked with it for so long. Kind of refreshing. I would never make it as a carpenter. I'd get fired. They'd be like, "What are you doing and why?" I'd be like, "Well, I don't know." But it's all right. It's all right. Thank heaven. Tradesmen make fun of me all the time. I want to make videos flaming tradesmen, but then I think I would lose a lot of my audience. They make fun of me a lot, though. I'll tell you what. I had to hold back a lot. I used to be the biggest troll, guys. I used to be. But then if you start getting a following and anything, you have to stop being a troll. You got to quit. Because then, I don't know, you just got to quit. Can't troll people back. So let me see what you guys got. Check the center ribs. I don't know if it has to be sanded. But it has to be good quality. Like, no pressure cracks, no millions of knot pieces in it. And check for the voids on the side. If there's a bunch of voids in between the ply and you can visibly see that from the outside, don't get that piece of wood. Don't get it. First of all, yes, you can roll edge. Yeah, I'm specifically doing more of this so you guys can definitely see how you can make hydro turf, like a turf deck, look really good on wood. It absolutely looks great. I would argue that the Alumacraft, I'm sorry, the Starcraft that I did with the all wooden decks and aluminum hatches, but all wooden decks and subfloor, I would say that thing is one of the most solid boats I've ever been on. It's the least vibration, the most solid it feels. You really got to do a lot of extra work with a all aluminum deck to make it not vibrate and not feel like you got to do a lot of extra stuff to it. It's kind of, I don't know. So fishing with Andrew, you're looking at a Stratos 21 SS Extreme. Well, heck, man, if you think that'll compel you in fishing, like if you're gonna go do legitimate tournaments, then I would get a bass boat. If you're having to run 60 miles an hour from point to point to try and put together a pattern that's gonna win you in tournaments, then I mean I would go get it. But if you're just out there to go fish, then a bass boat isn't going to really improve your quality any more than the John boat will. It's just going to be a giant money pit. A bass boat is a money pit. You know what a bass boat really is? It's a status symbol. It's a flex. It's like you're part of the club. They're just a unique bunch of guys. Let me tell you something. I think that the MLF, I think it's the MLF or the BASS Open, something. One of the most recent really big tournaments, like big deal tournaments. I forget which one it is. So there's a 19-year-old kid leading it. To his credit, he's obviously very good, right? The best of the best going into this tournament. $100,000 truck, $100,000 boat, like 50 grand worth of electronics are in there, $250,000 just by themselves with their stuff and all their sponsors. And then the entry fee into that tournament for the whole tour is 100 grand. The entry fee to get into the tournament and fish all the tournaments together. So 350 grand per person. And there's like 40, 50, I don't know how many boats there are. There's a lot of boats, right? So like, how's a 19-year-old kid going to get like 350K to compete? So he comes for money, which is fine, whatever. Life's hard. You got privilege, take it. But I'm just saying, like, the bass boat market is like, it's people that just push extraordinary amounts of privilege. They're not really, I don't know, I feel differently about bass boats. If you ever hang around a clique of them and you see what they do and how they talk and how petty they are, and I don't know, I would never own a bass boat on purpose. It's like my life mission to never own one. I mean, I kind of broke that. I have that nitro back there, but that doesn't count, does it? Right? It's like 16. It's a 16-foot nitro count as a tiny boat. Please say yes, or otherwise I tried to click off something and it took me off. Are you guys still there? Oh no. Hello. All right. Sorry about that. I tried to click off something and then it made me click on and took it off. Yeah. Okay, it does? Damn. All right, well, it is what it is. Like, how about I sell it or give it away? Then I'll have absolved myself of the sin of owning a bass boat. One day. All right. I don't know what time it is. We generally hang around here for an hour or so. I do have some giveaway items. I think some bigger giveaway items and some smaller ones. Not right now, though. The garage looks very bad. It is in complete disarray. I do not have my stuff together, but I have not done really any content all week. I really wanted to touch base with you guys and see how you were doing. And I hope your builds are going well. I hope these lives are somewhat beneficial. And I do have an extensive roll of content coming out. I just have to sit down and edit it all. And that's going to take a lot of caffeine and peanuts. Yeah, I'm going to get it going. I'm going to get it. Oh, yeah. If progress was disarray, then this garage has seen so much progress. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you much. I appreciate it. I will talk to you guys later on the flip side. Thank you for joining the live. See ya.